Hello, welcome back to my channel and welcome to Vlogmas Day 3. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Laken and I upload videos focused on helping you achieve your goals. And this is my 4th year participating in Vlogmas, and every year I've done it a little bit differently, but I always incorporate some pre-recorded videos. That way I can still provide some of the content that I always provide every single month here on my channel. And one of those videos is always my monthly goals video. Every month I sit down to share with you all the goals that I set for last month, how they went, which ones I accomplished and which ones I didn't, and all the goals that I have set for the upcoming month. And this month is no different. We are heading into the final month of the year and I'm so excited. I obviously have lots of goal content planned for the month of December to kind of wrap up 2021 and tell you how all of those things went. I'll tell you exactly how I feel about my 2021 goals, which ones I really accomplished, which ones I kind of accomplished, and which ones I really didn't do at all. And then what I have set up and getting all prepared for a new year of goals. But that is not what we're here to talk about today. So let's start by talking about how my November goals went. So my first monthly action item for November was to do one of the December daily classes, and that was the Canva, Creating with Canva class. And I did that. I scheduled time in my calendar to do it and I accomplished it. I don't know that that class really helped me a lot with memory keeping in Canva. Not that it wasn't helpful for that, but I don't really anticipate becoming like a digital memory keeper, because part of memory keeping for me is the act of like playing with the products and the creative side of it. Not that you can't get creative digitally. The class was great. I learned a lot more in the class about how I use Canva for my business. There was probably a more applicable Canva class I could have done if that was my real focus, but I really like the teacher that taught that class. So if you are interested in digital scrapbooking, I think it's a really, really great class, and I learned a lot in general about Canva. Okay, the next monthly action item is the only one that doesn't have anything shaded in yet, but I am still planning to get to this before the end of the month. I'm filming this video on November 20th before I go out of town. So I still have 10 days left in the month, and that is to finalize all the Black Friday sale stuff. I still plan to have a Black Friday sale. By the time this video goes up, that will have passed. I just need to get it all finalized and figure out really what's been holding me back. It's like the actual technology piece of it. That is always my my least favorite piece of any kind of business related thing. So figuring out how to actually set up the Black Friday code, and then I need to make the Instagram posts and all the things. The next monthly action item was to get QuickBooks all set up for my business and really just transition from doing my budgeting for the business in a Google spreadsheet into a actual like accounting software. And I actually decided to go with one called Wave. It's the one that was recommended to me by my tax accountant, and it's free. They do offer upgrades to it, but QuickBooks is like you have to pay for it just to have it. And so I decided to go with Wave, and I love it. I love it so far. So much that I am contemplating transitioning our personal budgeting into a platform like this instead of using a Google spreadsheet, which I've been using a Google spreadsheet for my budget for a decade. So that would be quite a transition for me, but I'm really considering it because I really love having my business all set up. It is so much easier when the transactions are auto-populated as opposed to me having to go manually put in every transaction in a spreadsheet. The next monthly action item was to get Kartra all set up, and that was in order to offer the Accelerate Your Goals course at a go at your own pace instead of a live version. And I did some of that. I signed up for Kartra, I set up my account, I like started to pull things in, but I did not quite finish that, and so I'm carrying that over into December. I am still planning to get to that by the end of the year, I promise. I know there are a lot of you who messaged me or commented and said that you would love to do the Accelerate Your Goals course at your own pace to kick off 2022. So I will get that done, I promise. The next monthly action item was to do some things for the group coaching program, and I did that as much as I can. I talked about this more in last month's video. Until the dance schedule is released, I'm kind of limited on knowing what I can handle if I'm gonna do evening calls for the group coaching. I mentioned that I could schedule it all right this second if you're open to a daytime call, but a lot of you messaged me that were interested in group coaching who said that no, evenings really work better for you. So waiting for the dance schedule. I shaded this all the way in because I did everything I could do to prepare for the group coaching launch next month. All right, the next monthly action item was to do all of the Vlogmas prep, and I mentioned last month how I use that break it down notepad from Cultivate What Matters to really break down that goal into all of the additional steps. So I did that, I did all of the steps, and got it all done, obviously, because here we are in Vlogmas. All right, the next monthly action item was the action item related to the secret goal that I could not share until it was complete, and that was quitting my full-time job. And that's what I wrote it on my power sheets last month, just so that when I officially submitted my 2 weeks notice, I was able to shade that bar in, and it just, the feeling, I I can't even describe that feeling. And also being able to finally share it with you. If you missed my video that went up on Monday, that video goes all, like, talks way more about that goal, all the behind the scenes, how I'm feeling, what the plans for the future are, all of those things. But that was my big step in November. The next monthly action item might be a little bit pointless now, and that was to get our personal 2022 budget spreadsheet all set up and ready to go. I did that pretty early in the month, truthfully, because I was really excited about it. I'm a numbers dork. But now I am contemplating the process of transitioning all of our stuff to a like budgeting system software instead of a spreadsheet. So I did that, but it might not matter. The next monthly action item was just to make progress on the apartment, declutter, home packing, all of those things. I talked way more in detail about this actually in my quarterly goals video for Q4. And then I broke it down even further for November and December using that same break it down notepad. And then in November, I didn't really get specific. I just said make some progress. I didn't check off as many of the things on that like broken down list as I kind of thought I would in the month of November. But again, it's also only the 20th, so I do still have time. So I went ahead and shaded it all the way in because all I wrote down was make progress. And I did do that because I did 3 of the things on the list of, I don't know, 15. So you'll see what the wording that I've changed it to in December. And then the last monthly action item was to finish the No BS course, which is the weight loss program that I am doing. And I talked last month how you'll see it's also in the weekly section. I have been working on it. I've been making progress on it, but I have not quite finished it. And again, one of those things that because we still have 10 days left in the month, I am planning to finish. So of all the monthly action items, the only one that I'm not planning to shade all the way in is the Kartra, and I'm just carrying that over to December. The other 2 I am planning to get to in the next 10 days. All right, let's move on to the weekly action items. The first one was to work on wedding stuff, and I did that every week. I checked it off every week, but there were definitely weeks that it was kind of a cop-out. Like I did one small thing and called it progress and probably needed to spend a little bit more time on wedding planning than I actually did in that given week. So I am changing up how I'm incorporating the wedding planning stuff in my power sheets in December, and you'll see that when we get there. The next one, the next weekly action item was to work on memory keeping, and it was to do 3 weeks every week. And I did 0. I did 0. God, I'm struggling. I'm really struggling here. I really just want to throw in the towel and not do it. But I've gotten all the photos printed, and I have all the stickers, and I want to be able to look back on it. I don't necessarily want to do it, but I want to be able to look back on it. So I don't want to carry it over into forever and ever and ever and ever. Like I want it to be done. I want to put a nice big check mark next to 2021 memory keeping. So I am carrying it over into December, definitely in a different way because I've got a lot of ground to make up, and we'll talk about it more when we get to December. I'm hoping that it helps somewhat, and having more free time, I don't know, we'll see. The next weekly action item was that further breakdown of working on the No BS course to work on it every single week. I did it 2 of the 3 weeks. Again, I feel good about the progress I'm making, and hopefully we'll be able to get to the end before the end of the month. And then the last one was my step goal. And I did not hit it the first week, but I was really, really close, and I didn't wear my watch to a wedding. And so I almost gave myself credit for that step goal because I was that close. Figuring that I probably got the steps in from like the time that I took my watch off when I put my dress on until like I would have gone to bed. But I did not give myself the check mark. Hit it last week, very much on pace to hit it this upcoming week. I only have 5,000 steps left in between today and tomorrow, so I definitely will hit that. So I feel pretty good about that. I'm not carrying steps over into December just because it's not as much of a priority right now, but I'm glad that I put steps back in my power sheets because it definitely made me pay attention to it a little bit more this month. All right, moving on to the daily action items. So the first one is to go through at least 100 photos on my phone, if not more than that. And some days I did do more. I did, like I said, filming this on the 20th, I did 16 of the 19 days so far in November, and I call that progress. I'm pretty proud of that. And again, some days I did more than that. So I did at least 1,600 photos, and some days I did more. I'm not even really getting that close to the end. I think I'm like 12% through all of my photos on my phone. I still have a very long way to go. I use an app called Get Sorted. Absolutely changed my life in terms of this. Like definitely carrying this over into December, and something I will have to carry over into 2022 if it's something that I want to finish, which I do, and then figuring out what I'm gonna do going forward so that it doesn't get this bad again. The next daily action item was to do the daily December daily class, and I have them all checked off because like I mentioned last month, I did not put this in my power sheets to motivate me necessarily to do it on that exact day. There were days I didn't do it, but then the next day I went back and did 2, and this was a tracker. This was really to make sure that I am doing them all, not that I did them all on a specific day. So I'm caught up, so they're all checked off. It doesn't mean it happened on that day, but that wasn't my goal. The next daily action item was to get my water in, and I did this 15 of the 19 days, which is about 80% of the month, and I am so proud of that. I struggled a little bit at the beginning, but then once my body got used to it really again, like drinking that much water, I was good to go. Again, like the steps, I'm glad I put this back into my power sheets because it definitely made me pay more attention to it than before it was back in my power sheets. And I talked about this recently in a vlog as well. Yes, there were days I didn't hit it, but I know that I probably drank more water than I would have if I hadn't set this goal. So sometimes we might set a super ambitious goal knowing that we're gonna fall short, but feeling good about what we're falling short as. My goal for this water is 100 ounces. That's a lot of water. And so the days that I didn't hit it, I was probably still getting at least 60 to 70 ounces, which is still pretty darn good. So it worked for the steps in the water. Did not quite work for this next daily action item, which was to get a workout in. I did 7 of the 19 days. I'm still just super unmotivated. My foot is, I talked about it in last month's video that I had a sprain. Turns out I actually have a fracture. So I'm very limited. I have a boot on now. I can't get on the bike. I can't, like, I'm frustrated. And so there were days that I was like motivated and I just did arms and core, and I did something, but I still only did it 7 days out of the month. More than 0, super proud of that. Less than what I've done in the past. So I'm not carrying this over to December just because I'm still gonna be in boot for part of it, and I just need to figure out what to do about that kind of part of my life. And then the last 3 daily action items were to make, follow, and assess the 24-hour plan that's related to that No BS weight loss course that I'm doing. I did a decent job. If you watched last month's video, I did not very great. And so my goal was to do 50%, and I did 58% for making the plan. So I hit it, I hit my goal, and I feel good about that. So what I'm carrying this over to December, obviously, and my goal for December is going to be 60% to make. The follow and assess, I'm still really working on, and I'm not as concerned. This is more data than it is like I have to be perfect in every scenario. But for making the plan, I don't remember what I did in October, but something less than 50. I made the goal 50, I hit 58. Now the goal is going to be 60. I feel like I already talked a lot about December. I feel like you know a lot of what's coming, but let's go ahead and turn the page and talk about my December goals. So starting with the encouraging words, I had a lot of different ideas of what I wanted to put in the encouraging word section this month, and I decided to go through the quotes in the category called New Beginning. So I use an app called Motivation, that's all it's called, and it is an app of inspirational quotes, and I love it. And there's a million categories, and I do have like a widget on my home screen on my phone that rotates through quotes every day, and that rotation, I've picked my own categories. So I have like 20 different categories that I've picked, but you can go into each individual category and just like scroll through that category. So for this month, I did that. I went to the New Beginnings category and I scrolled through because for me, December is like the ultimate new beginning. I mean, working for myself and not working a 9-to-5 job for the first time in my adult life. So that piece of the new beginning, and then also preparing for the new beginning that is the new year, kind of just has multiple meanings, and I just really wanted to reflect that. So the quote that I ended up choosing, I screenshotted a lot of them, and this is the one I decided to go with, is "The magic in new beginnings is truly the most powerful of them all." And just reminding myself of the power and the magic of a new beginning. And then for my priority for December, I wrote the word joy. Common word used this time of year, but also, again, reminding myself of why I wanted to work for myself. And that was to enjoy and have joy in what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. Yes, there will always be parts of jobs that you don't love and don't enjoy, but embracing the joy and the excitement, as well as the holiday season, that aspect of joy as well as all the joy that like preparing for a new year brings me, right? Setting my new goals and all of those things. And then dance is back in December, just in the form of auditions in December. Hopefully I'm all ready to go by then. And that brings me joy. So just like all of those things. All right, let's start with the monthly action item. So this is where I changed things up regarding wedding planning. Instead of making it a thing that I just worked on every week, like a weekly goal, I got specific. And I've done this before in my power sheets this year, but I got specific on the things related to wedding planning that I need to get done this month. And in the past, I've done it where like, oh, I might not finish it by the end of the month. No. These like all really need to be done by the end of December. So the first one is to get my shoes. I know what I want, and really I've just been waiting to go with my mom, to go shopping with my mom. So I am gonna do that for sure in December, but I wanna be able to check it off, and kind of will inspire me to just make a decision on the day that we go shopping. The next one is to get all of the alcohol finalized. So we are at like kind of a DIY type venue. And so I need to make some phone calls. I need to figure out like what percentages we want of things and all those kinds of things. I have a whole like separate wedding to-do list. These are kind of just the overarching bigger categories. The next one is to mail the invites. I cannot believe that we are finally at a place where we are going to put the invites in the mail. My goal is to get them in the mail on December 15th or by December 15th. My mom and sister are coming into town on the 16th, and I want to be done with them. The next one is to plan out and kind of organize the trip that we're taking to Texas in January. We obviously have flights and stuff, and I have some things booked, like a dress fitting, my hair and makeup trial. Those things are already booked. But then there are some things we need to go meet with our venue. We need to go get a marriage license. I failed to figure out what else is on that list, but I need to figure out what we're doing on what days and in what cities. Cause like some of those things are in Austin, some are in San Antonio where my parents are. Some of them, we don't actually have to do anything in Houston, but that's where Sam will be. He will be in Houston, and figuring out who's renting the car, who is driving to the other one, what days are we doing what, all that coordination. The next one is to book our honeymoon flight. So we are not going on a honeymoon right away because we have a bunch of other weddings and commitments quickly after our wedding, so we are waiting until late next summer, but it's probably actually past the time that we probably should have booked those international flights, so I decided to go ahead and put that on the list for December. And then the last wedding related item to get to this month is ordering our ketubah. That process also has already been started. It's not like we're starting this from scratch in December, but I like really want it to be done in December. Okay, the next two goals are both Plan with Laken related goals, and they're basically carryovers from the prior months, but different things. Like I've shaded them off, I could color them in prior months, and I'm doing something different in December. So the first one is the group coaching, get all of those dates finalized, get it launched, get everyone signed up and ready to go for January. And then the next one is to get the Accelerate Your Goals course up on Kartra, ready to go, so that if you want to do Accelerate Your Goals at your own pace starting in January, you can do that. The next monthly action item is our finance related goal, and that is we need to have a conversation just going into the new year, both of us being business owners, in terms of what our financial goals are, how much is going into all the things. It's really more of a like just catch up, because we had this conversation last year and then in the middle of this year, and it's just kind of like a touch point going into the new year and touching base on where we're at with all of our financial goals. And then the last monthly action item is to finish the apartment list, and that is kind of like the invites, one that needs to be done by like December 15th before my mom and sister get here. So I need to get going on that. I am not doing any weekly action items for December, and here's the biggest reason why. December is all going to be very different. Each week is going to look very different. The first week is going to be a pretty average week, everything in my control. The next week is Cultivate Your Live, as well as dance workshops and dance auditions. So there's a lot going on. The next week I have half the week in my control, and then my mom and sister are here. The next week I'm in Chicago. So it's just like every week looks different. And so there's nothing I felt like I could put on a consistent basis for a weekly goal. So I decided just to not do any in December. The daily action items, there's really nothing new here. The first one is photos, and that's to do 100 photos on my phone. Again, that was my 100-day focus for the last 100 days of the year, and something I will definitely be carrying into 2022. The next daily action items are memory keeping. And yes, I am making this a daily item. And here's my thought process, partially because we have to, and partially because I know that it won't actually happen every day, but I am giving myself a place to get credit for it. So I have 35 weeks left in the year to memory keep. That's a lot. That's a lot of weeks. So even if I did one every single day, I still wouldn't be done. And the truth is, I'm not gonna do it every day, because there are gonna be days like dance or audition days, or when I'm in Chicago or my mom and sister are here. Actually, I might do a week or two while they're here, but there will be days that I don't do any. And so I thought about, I like kind of did the math and was like, okay, well, how many days do you think you really won't do any? And then, so what's kind of the max? And that's how I got to the number 3. So on days that I have time, my goal is to do 3 weeks in a day. Now, I do have a lot more free time now than I have ever had, because I no longer have a full-time job, and I have an editor helping me with Vlogmas. So I do have a lot of extra time. So the feasibility of doing that is possible on some days in December. And I really only need to do that then 12 days of the month in order to get all caught up. So I only have to do it like half of the time. But the reason I put it in the daily section is because I want to be able to get check marks for it. I want to be able to check it off so that I'm not necessarily concerned about doing this every single day, because I don't need to do 3 a day for the whole month to finish it. But on the days I do 3, I want to be able to check off 3 and get credit, or the days I only do 2 or do 1, I want to be able to get credit. So the real goal here, right, is not to do this every day, but to have 35 check marks in that all 3 of those rows throughout the month of December. And if I can do that, then I will go into the new year with no memory keeping baggage. That's my goal. And then the last 3 daily action items are the ones that you've seen before, and that is to make, follow, and assess my 24-hour plan that's part of my No BS program. So just carrying that over again and again and again. That's it. That's what I have going on in December. I am very much looking forward to the month of December and just putting kind of a bow and wrapping up some of my 2021 goals and starting to think about 2022. But let's celebrate a little bit. I want you to let me know in the comments what is one thing that you accomplished in the month of November that you are super proud of. I think you can probably guess which goal I was the most excited about in November, so I want to hear yours in the comments so we can celebrate together. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday focused on helping you achieve your goals. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Vlogmas. Which ones I accomplished? Greatly? Great? That sounds weird. The next, to kick off 2021. Nope, that's wrong. I mentioned last year, not last year. I feel like I just spit on my camera screen. Finance, blah, blah, blah.